It was totally not just listening to the Victorious theme song on repeat to get me hyped up for this video. Good morning, welcome to my March wrap-up because it's now April. Cheers to being best friends, right? Cheers. Today I got my coffee, get myself hyped for the time to get myself hyped up for this video, and I actually ended up reading, drumroll, 12 books this month, which means I'm like on a steady incline. Like I'm setting myself the bar like really high each month, so I mean it's kind of working out. Now in order to like raise the bar again for this month, I have to read 13 books, but let's not talk about it. Today I've got a lot of books to talk about, so I just want to jump in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, definitely let me know in the comments what books you read, and I will discuss with you. Okay, let's get started. So the first book that I read this month is A Reaper in the Gates by Matthieu, and this is the third book in the Ember and the Ashes. And basically you've got three main characters in this series. We've got Laia, Elias, and Helene. These three are interwoven in this empire that we're set in, and basically the empire is kind of deteriorating as we have like Laia, who is a part of this oppressed group called the Scholars. They are constantly being like killed, and people are just being destroyed and oppressed. And then we have got Elias, who is a part of the people that are training to like kind of, you know, be one of those like Max and a part of that government who like oppresses those people. And then Helene is Elias's friend. They kind of get interwoven into this like big journey around the empire. Like there's love stories and there's fallouts and breakups, and it's just such an amazing series, and it's so much better than probably what I explained. The third book actually impressed me. I did not think it would be as good as it was like from the start, but yeah, it really shocked me. There's some twists at the end that I was like, oh my gosh, and then there was some emotional like scenes and like, oh my gosh, it was just crazy. I love this book so much, and I started reading the fourth book, and then I kind of got disinterested. Then my loan got returned, so I'll be reading the fourth book this month, hopefully finishing the Ember and the Ashes series. But like, wow, this series is just so well written. It's not like the most fun thing, but it's definitely so engaging and so entertaining. Next up, we have got the Waste of Space Moon-Based Alpha series by Stuart Gibbs, and basically in this series, this trilogy, so there is Space Case, Spaced Out, and Waste of Space. And in this series, the first book is basically set where we're with this kid named Dashiell and his sister Violet. They are living in Moon-Based Alpha, which is a space program to start getting humans living on the space. They were selected through a very highly kind of lottery type system, and we find out quickly that living on the space is not as fun as it seems. Like they have to like go to the bathroom in weird ways, eat like really dehydrated food, like basically like you have to like slurp it up, and it's like just, you know, not as fun as it seems. He's kind of stuck, and a lot of people get crazy in space. So we kind of find out Dr. Holt, he had this discovery. Dashiell was in the bathroom when he was like calling his friend. He was like, hey, I just got a discovery, this is gonna be crazy, it's gonna change mankind. The next morning he goes out on space with his kind of helmet like not on properly, and he dies. And so Dashiell's like, how is he, just before he's gonna have this huge discovery and announcement to the world, how is he gonna die? That just doesn't make any sense. And so not only does he have to find out like what that huge discovery was, but also like who the murderer was of Dr. Holt. And so this one book, like it's like really not random. The way Stuart Gibbs like plotted this, he must have plotted all the books like before he even wrote the first one, because the discovery that they find out at the end of book 1 impacts book 2 and book 3, and it's just such a crazy series, such a good middle grade series, because Stuart Gibbs is just so well written. Like I just this book was so entertaining, so fun, and I like recommend it to the fullest. And the only physical books that I read this month are the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I'll quickly kind of delve into what this is about, although I've like literally talked about it so much. But basically it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Feyre shoots a wolf. It turns out to be a fairy, and she's taken into the fairy realm where she falls in love with her captor Tamlin, and there's an ancient curse that she has to break. Wow, I managed to explain that in like less than 10 seconds. I'm so proud of myself. And this series is just so fantastic. I just love all of the plot twists, like, and it gets better as we go. Like the first book is pretty good. It's a little bit slow, but then it's like we get into the second book, which is like so imaginative, so creative. And then the third book, which I'm still finishing up, I have like 100 and something 200 pages left, so it's gonna be great to finish that. And then I have a lot of ambitious plans in April. But in terms of physical books, I just didn't really have a lot of time because these books are giant. Like Sarah J Maas, I totally underestimated it, but yeah, like her her font has gotten a little bit smaller and she has a lot of pages. But yeah, I just love this series, and I love kind of returning to it because I forgot a lot about the plot, and I think that it's just so expertly crafted, it's so cozy, and like this is one book that I can visualize so well because like I said in another video, I just can't visualize a lot of books, so this really helps. And it was a perfect time to read the series because I made a whole video about it, but there's an acotar TV show coming out, and that video did really well, surprisingly. So yeah, go check it out if you want to. That is my discussion about the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I highly recommend you read it. Go read it. Go read it. I love how I'm drinking my coffee out of like a insanely large straw. But okay, next up we have got the Young Elite series. The Young Elite series by Mary Lou was the worst series I've read by Mary Lou this far. It was a fantasy series. Basically, I couldn't even explain it to you just because of not really liking it that much. But it's basically about this girl, I forgot her name, and she has this scar because of this fever, this plague that happened like a couple years back, and we don't really get any information as to what that plague was, or I was just confused about like how the plague affected her. But there's basically this plague, she got affected by it, she got a scar, and she's now a Malfetto. Yeah, and basically she has this curse where she has powers, and the Malfettos in this organization, in this shindig, are basically very, like, oppressed, kind of like I said. It's like a dystopian, like, where one group is, like, highly marginalized, and she basically almost get killed, like burned at the stake because she's a Malfetto, but the Young Elites come and the Dagger Society rescues her and kind of teaches her about her powers, and then she does some stuff and she gets kicked out of the Dagger Society and she makes her own society called the Rose Society, and then it's like they're all like fighting each other but they're on the same side. It makes no sense. That's basically my basic plot rundown. My opinion on this series was that it just didn't really work. Like I said, the plot was pretty good, it just didn't really make sense, like that the different societies were fighting each other and like that they're against each other, because really when it came down to it, the Malfettos and people with powers and the Young Elites, they are the ones that are being oppressed in the society. So if they just came together and defeated the government, then it could have been over a lot quicker, but then there was like personal grudges that came into it. And so yeah, that's where it kind of comes in, like it just, the characters got too heavily influenced with the plot, and then the whole thing was really cliche. I just thought some tropes were really overused, like the love triangle and like the corruption trope, which is one that I really hated. Like basically I don't like when authors have like power corrupt the person, like our main character turns evil and it's like I just really don't like when characters that are magical like start developing like side effects and the corruption and all that stuff. But the third book was pretty nice in reversing the corruption and like ending the series on a good note, so I will give it that. But overall the series was like a 3, maybe even a 2-star, because it just wasn't really interested, very overused and just confusing. I love myself some Mary Lou, but just not fantasy. I'll just say that. Alright, second to last, we have got the newest release in the Wings of Fire series, which is one of my most anticipated books of the year. I am so stoked to have read this because it was just almost like a literary masterpiece. I really analyzed a lot of the choices that Sutherland was using within the writing, and I just was able to see kind of the theme. Like there was a clear message in this book, and I really enjoyed that. I like the character growth, the kind of like redemption, kind of like the evil and redemption arc in it. It was just super cool to see. The plot was really good. It was refreshing because it wasn't too actionful, but like reading this, you got a lot of information. The world building was really cool, and I just loved some of the side plots and subplots and like overall background history making, and like it was just it was like a literary masterpiece. Alright, so the next, or actually it's the last book, but the last book that I read this month is Belly Up by Stuart Gibbs, and this is the first book in the Fun Jungle series. Fun fact, I've read a lot of the other books in the series but never the first book, so this reread is actually doing me numbers because it gets a lot of like backstory and history. But this book is about this boy named Teddy. Family kind of like lives at Fun Jungle, which is this zoo because his parents work there, and there he kind of witnesses this like hippo, Henry the hippo, it's murder basically. He doesn't really realize that it's a murder, but he kind of sneaks into some places and he kind of figures out with some intel that the hippo died, and it's his job to kind of like chase down the murderer while the murderer is also chasing down him. Like he's getting in severe danger. He meets the park owner's daughter and they kind of tag team on this case, and it was a really good book, especially because I didn't really know the mystery mystery, like I'm gonna read the other books again and I kind of know or have a vague idea of what happens, but like this one I had no idea, and that's the pleasure of mystery books because you never really know what happens. So yeah, it was really good. Again, Stuart Gibbs is just such a good, consistent author, putting out some amazing work and just some really fun and lighthearted work too. It was great. That's my opinion. Thanks for watching that segment. That's so good. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little chat. I hope this was quick because every month I'm reading more and more books, so I have to talk about each book shorter and shorter. Like, I could go into a 30-minute wrap-up. I probably could. I definitely could, actually. Yeah, I just don't want you guys sitting here for 30 minutes thinking that you're not satisfied, because that's in my brain. I always think that you're not going to enjoy it if it's too long. Yeah, anyways, thanks so much for watching, and make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed all these books. If you've read any of these books, then definitely let me know, or if you plan to read any of these books, definitely let me know, like I said. And also make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate it, because only 50% of you guys are subscribed. I can finally say that. Have a great day, guys. I'll leave the last video up there. See you guys in the next one. Happy reading, and have a great weekend. Mwah.